Good morning, everybody. Get started here in just a second. Can you guys hear me okay? What a morning. Holy cow, we got a ton of opportunity overnight already. I'll show you guys what's going on there. And then we'll get moving here. Perfect. Very good. Okay, I would say let's get started. We're already a couple of minutes past the top of the hour. Good morning, everybody. Serge Berger here from thesteadytrader.com. If you are here for the first time, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel. You give us a thumbs up, like. Very important, because that way you are going to be updated in real time through YouTube when we go live with our analysis. What are we going to do today? Well, we're going to go through our notepad as we do every morning or Monday through Thursday. Top few things in our notepad. Want to quickly give you an update on the S&P. We'll look at the Max 7. I know a lot of people still have those on their mind because they're mostly long that stuff in way too many ways. Then a quick reminder of year-to-date performance. I want to start off with gold, actually. We'll look at Take-Two Interactive, insurance stocks, and that's a hell of a lot of stuff here for free for you guys in the morning, so let's get started. All right, gold. Let's just quickly remind ourselves what's going on here and why I'm actually currently short some futures against my largest long position, which is gold and has been gold since September of 2023. Here is, again, this is where the market rover comes in so handy. If you don't have the market rover, get it. If you're not using it and you have it, then, oops, turn that off here. Then please get with it. Here's gold on the market rover. This is our trend following software, very important. We received a buy signal on that in January of last year. Gold is now up from that point, was up as much as 50+%, and it's still bullish, and there's really no reason in our view not to think that gold is going to go much higher. We think gold, if you measure the actual gold spot level, which I'll quickly show you here. Let me quickly show you that. Okay, so this is actually actual gold spot. If you look at it through a long enough lens, one can easily make the argument that we're going to see this thing move well towards 6, 7, 8,000 over the course of a number of years. Again, I showed you guys this chart here a couple of weeks ago, and I think it's still there. Now, there's a lot of reasons for that. Central bank buying, more uncertainties around the dollar, blah, blah, blah. Long stories. We've been talking about it here for 2 years, so nothing new, but it continues to work out. Now, however, in the near term, I'm increasingly concerned that it's getting stretched. I've mentioned this here last week, so it's not, again, nothing new for those of you guys that come here every morning, but just a quick reminder that we've now reached what I think is another critical upside objective. We reached a critical upside objective last year around, let me quickly show this to you, when the SPY reached about 250, but now we've actually reached and surpassed the level around 2,800 on spot. In fact, we're now north of 3,000, so I think we're probably near-term overbought. We've had the entire move from the upside from 2018 into 2020, and then some, and we're now at this critical 3,000 level, which I think ultimately is going to lead to some sort of consolidation. So if we now zoom in a bit closer, make this a daily chart, and go back to the chart that I showed you guys before, then what you'll see is this. And this, actually, let me show it to you on the weekly chart first. This is a pretty classic kind of situation where I would see some backing and filling from here. I'm not calling for the end of the run, obviously, like I just said, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is going to lead to some sort of a mean reversion move, meaning we could have a pause here, but we could also see a drop of 5, 6, 7%. I mean, it could be more, but that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. So I'm currently, just in full disclosure for me personally, I'm short gold futures. I do trade gold futures quite actively, but I'm short as a hedge on the daily timeframes, if you will. I'm short some gold futures that I hold overnight, right? In addition to trading it actively against my core long position of gold. Why? Because I'm just trying to protect my gold. I'm sitting on a lot of profits on GLD, so I'm trading gold against it, just in case for anyone that kind of wonders how that works. Switching over, and again, questions, please let us know. As far as the S&P 500 is concerned, we've had this oversold bounce now that we've been advertising that we here that we might have. It's yesterday was a nice move, 1.75% the S&P, and we've now come back to and overcome that 570 level. If you guys remember, we talked about it last week, 570. We said it has to be overcome on the daily chart. If you look at the SPY, you might even have the line there. Yeah, there you go. So those are the lines we drew together last week here. So that's 570. And this level basically means that we could see more upside. Now, does it all have to come today? No, of course not. This can take another week for us to get to the next target. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some sort of a turnaround Tuesday today. If you don't know what turnaround Tuesday is, please let me know. I'm happy to explain it to you quickly. But I do think that we have the potential to now move towards, let's call it, 5,900. So that's 590 or so on the S&P 500. But again, yesterday was a good start. It was Monday. It was past options expiration. So we talked about this last week. Do you guys remember we talked about it? We talked about last week. We said, hey, once we get past Wednesday, let me quickly rewind the clock here. So we talked about once we get past Wednesday last week, there's going to be options hedges that come off. And then we said even more options hedges are going to come off after Friday. And that's exactly what happened, right? And then, of course, that set up for a squeeze to the upside after some news over the weekend as well. And here we are, about 575 on the SPY. Again, I think we can go towards 590 or so. That would not be surprising at all. So I think that's what we're about to see here. Next is quickly a reminder of year-to-date stuff, right? So when we talk about year-to-date, what we are referencing to here is the asset class dispersion between different things. So, for example, I just want to remind everybody that essentially when you look at the stuff that's worked best over the past 10 years, it's also the stuff that's now doing the worst. So the NASDAQ 100 is by far the worst, equally weighted S&P, which we would highly recommend anyone that's S&P 500 centric to be involved there. The DAX is up, copper, which you'll hear a lot more about that later today if you're going to join that webinar. And then like Darden as well, DRI, which is an individual stock. I'm trying to show individual stuff as well, so you guys can see this is not just a index thing. It's also individual stocks that have nothing to do with tech or outperforming, right? Mega cap tech. So that's something else to keep in mind. Quickly taking a look at MAGS, which is your Mag 7 stocks, right, that everyone is long way too much. So an ETF that tracks this whole stuff is MAGS. And I do think one can use a very simple line in the sand here. So if you feel compelled that you have to chart chase another Apple or NVIDIA trade because that's what your neighbor's doing, then just keep in mind where we're at. I do think we could see, again, a bit of a further squeeze in the Qs and the SPY. It's entirely possible. I just would be very concerned that once we get towards next week, because next week we're heading into early April, as you know, we're going to be in a situation where there's going to be much more news. We have that April 2nd reciprocal tariff talk, whatever that even means. No one really understands it yet. We'll find out. But I think it's going to get much more newsy. So, as far as being interested in a directional trade, I think the window here is maybe this week. After that, once we head into next week, I would be way more cautious again to kind of wait for the news flow, because we don't know what the news flow is. So that's kind of how I'm set up. But again, I think very near term, we could see a turnaround Tuesday today. We could see a turnaround Tuesday, which basically means that yesterday's move could be retraced a little bit. So I'm actually likely going to be a seller at the open this morning. I was long futures overnight. I'll quickly show you that chart here in a second. But let me show you this here quickly so you can see this. But now that we're coming into the open, and this is very near term, I'm likely going to be looking for sell signals. So for those of you guys using the TST Trender, here's what happened overnight, and hopefully you were able to take some of these trades. So we had, this is early morning, right? So you have to get up really early to do this, but this is the NASDAQ futures. We had a sell signal, then we had an overbought signal by the Vertical X Pro, and then we received a buy signal, and that one remains valid. And the NASDAQ 100 futures is up about 50 basis points. Since then, it was up as much as 60 basis points from that signal. So remains valid, but again, I think I'm probably going to be looking to lean short for a potential gap fill or something here this morning once we get a new sell signal. We haven't had one yet, but that's what I'm looking for, again, given the circumstance of turnaround Tuesday here on a Tuesday, right? Last but not least, I want to show you guys a couple of stocks, and we're going to go into more detail on some of these things in the Market Rover member session here in just a second. But I do want to quickly show you Take-Two Interactive, which is one stock that looks interesting here. It remains in a very nicely bullish trend. So this is straight from the Market Rover. So if you're a Market Rover member, we're going to go over this chart here much more in about 5 minutes from now. But Take-Two Interactive, we've highlighted it here for months and months and months. It's been strongly bullish trend, remains bullish trend. This is a video game maker. We've got next upside targets from a swing trading perspective, about 220, followed by 224 or 225 or so. And so we'll take it. We'll sort of take it one moment at a time. So that's it for right now. If you are a Market Rover member, we'll see you guys in the member session there in 5 minutes. We've got about 5 stocks. We're going to give you specific entries, targets, and stops on. And we'll see you back here tomorrow morning as well at the same time, 9 o'clock Eastern. Please subscribe. Please give us a thumbs up, like. See you back here tomorrow morning.